All right, we are back. And what I mean by is I am back. I didn't really think I'd be able to do a video for you this week. And hopefully it's going to be bad if the power cuts off while I'm trying to record this for you. Some of you know, based on my Twitter, that I had a hurricane come through and, power went out, internet went out, and we just got it back yesterday. So I wanted to put this out real quick for you. It's going to have to be a short one. I know I'd really rather put them out like a Thursday or something, but it's going to have to be a short one just because I have a lot of things to still take care of today. But on the bright side, this is a very informative one. And for me, it's an exciting one, and I think it will be for you too. When I show you these things, I think it is going to give you cause for excitement. Long time ago, we were talking about on this Nansen query for smart money stablecoin indicator that this was looking very similar to what it looked back, March 2021, all the way into like May 2021. So it's really just kind of the same thing. I mean, look how similar these things are, and they're playing out. So once, let me just see here. So the panic threshold is way up here in the green. That's usually, this green line is going to be where you're at least going to consider getting back into a lot of your positions. I don't know if it's going to work out this way. I mean, they rhyme sometimes. This is a very new indicator, really. It's only showing one cycle, so I'm not sure that we can necessarily consider that this is going to look exactly the same. But typically this pink line is where you are in euphoria and you take profits. It's, smart money's buying with stable coins still at that point, and they still are at this point. They're accumulating. So just be aware that there is the possibility that we just keep going sideways for a while, the market cools off. We'll talk about that here in a second with the presidential chart that we've looked at before. But that's one view. These other views are a little bit more exciting, where your entry threshold here on the Bitcoin call put spread is actually well into the buy area, saying that it's time to buy because it's a discount. Now, this isn't financial advice, of course. Anything I tell you is never going to be financial advice. You should only risk what you're willing to lose. But down here we had our exit threshold, and that was March 12th. And from March 1st to the end of March, I was telling people, I'm taking profits and I'm going to keep them on the side, and I'm going to buy back in when things have cooled off some. And that's exactly what I did. I still hold things like Cubic and everything, and I'll show you something on that in a second. But, we just, when things are euphoric, that's when it's time to start thinking about profits, right? It's just flip your brain. It's just like us guys dating women, right? We don't really understand women's brains. Typically, the opposite thing that we're going to do is the right thing to do. So same thing here. Just think the opposite usually. So if you're feeling fearful, you should be buying typically. Where's the other one I wanted to show you? Yeah, so we're getting into the point to where there's a lot of people short. Up here it was a lot of people were long. Pink line is people are getting very short at this point, and their positions they've been building for shorts are starting to balloon, and the pendulum is going to swing back and forth, back and forth. You're going to have longs, you're going to have shorts, and when there's too many shorts, then that's when the longs step back in, or the shorts take their profits. This is, I'll highlight this purple line here. This is the 30-day moving average above the 360-day moving average. So it's kind of like a combined moving average in a way, and it's way down here. I mean, it's come a long way from where it was before. So we're getting a nice reset of the market. I believe that fear greed is, somebody was asking me about that today. I haven't looked at it, but they were saying it's very low, that we're in the fearful stage of the fear greed index. And so when that happens, we know that typically it has been a good time to buy. But what I've been doing is I've slowly been accumulating just in case price keeps coming down. I might buy one token a week until I see a turnaround. That's how slow I've been going with it. So just be careful with that. Don't throw everything in all at once, because it could always go down a little bit more. let's see. Okay. So yeah, this is going to turn back up eventually. I mean, you can see this was kind of like an inverted head and shoulders at one point, and then it broke out. So if you're talking about TA on this indicator, it's getting down here into this support area where a lot of people were accumulating before the next move up. So I think we're going to have that again. It's going to take it a little bit longer. And what I mean by that is, we've talked about this before. Actually, let me show you this because I haven't showed you this yet. But you got your fear greed index right here. That's what this bottom one is. So anytime it gets into this little pink area at the very top where it turns pink, that's euphoria. And you had a lower high right there, right at the top. So that was another thing I was seeing. And that was right about the start of March to the end of March that was happening. So now we're into the fearful state, and it happened back here too between halving and presidential election date, and it happened here as well. I mean, look at that big dip. And then the presidential election date happened, took off. This one had a dip. That was kind of a lower high right there as well. So even though this doesn't look exactly the same, it's very similar to this. And so this came down a little bit, and then it started turning back up. But just understand that this can take longer than what we expect. I mean, if you look at this, if you look at the date range on some of these, let's see, that was 128 days. That was 175 days. And let's just say if it did take the entire time, which it could, to the presidential election, that's 189 days. So you can see they're getting longer and longer, which would make sense. So just don't be surprised. I mean, I drew this out, this little line here, or projected line. I drew this out right at the end of April. And a lot of people would have said, well, you're crazy. Why would you draw that right there? I mean, we just rejected once, we're going to keep going, right? I mean, sometimes, yeah. But Bitcoin had gone so hard that it needed to rest. So I'm still expecting something like this to happen. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can see it is kind of coming down into that area. If that was to happen, it would be somewhere between, I'd say 42K to 49K would be my best guess. Doesn't have to, though. It could stop before then. And then Bitcoin, these are just some of the levels you can watch for. It's a variety of different things like volume profile, previous 2021 levels that were important. So that's kind of why I say 42K. Well, it could be all the way up to 53K that it could hold. We'll just have to see what they like to do. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I wanted to show you this. Look how this is kind of like a flat correction where it almost looks like a head and shoulders. They're always going to try to fool you where they want this. I mean, we could start right here at the beginning. I mean, this is kind of like an upward correction where this looks like, a head and shoulders. And then if you were looking at this at the time, especially if you saw this big red candle, you would have thought, oh, well, it could come down here. So they always want to fake you out. And then the other thing you could look at is, if we were to look at, this is a shoulder, this is a head, this is a shoulder. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not your typical head and shoulders. But notice how if you were looking at this price action, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like currently. If you were looking at this price action, especially right here, you could even call this kind of like a small shoulder or something. You would have thought, oh yeah, it's definitely coming back down here this time. So they like to use these head and shoulders as a method to scare people that watch charts. And if we look at this one, the reason I was plotting that it could do, I forget what I had. I think it was coming down to here maybe, and then back up or something. The reason they do this, like we're saying, there's a head and the shoulders there. I don't know if that's like a little shoulder. I mean, it's kind of like that back there, right, where it could be a little shoulder. If you look back here, this isn't really a head and shoulders because the head's below, but same thing there. They try to fake people out. But I was thinking that the angle that this one is taking is more downward. It's got a downward channel, whereas, this one was up. This one upward channel. And this was just a sideways, like I was talking about just a second ago, just going sideways. So I hope that makes sense. That's why I'm considering that there's some more downside left. But hopefully it does hold here. I mean, that'd be great. It could come back up here to 62K, fake people out one more time, and then come back down. But, there's some support here. Most of the support is down here. So from a macro view, what I'm trying to imagine in my mind is what would scare people the most. And it might be something like this. Continues to slowly bleed down. It never does it right away, right? I mean, it just slowly bleeds down, and they fake it out, and then they send it up. They want to grab all the liquidity they can before they send it back up. But that's why these support areas work. I mean, there's a lot of people that were buying back here. There's a lot of volume, and people that bought here and made profit, they want to buy back there. Or people that missed this move, they want to buy back there. Let me just show you a couple things on Twitter real quick that I've been talking about. Here is Bitcoin dominance I posted today. I posted this in, I don't know, it was either March or April, this fractal pattern. Looks like we're continuing to get a rejection there, just like we got back here. Once this happens, we'll have like a mini alt season, and then some profit taking, and then the real alt season would happen. And I don't know, I would suspect that this one here would be the presidential election timing that this all happens. And then maybe in, February or January or March or something, we have another dip. And then, into October 2025, we had the big move. Now, this would only be if we continue the usual cycles that we've always had. And I don't see why anybody would doubt that until it actually breaks. So I'm sticking to that theory until it happens. And that's why I drew up this chart in 2022, because I felt it could be useful. A lot of people are saying that, this time's different. I don't feel like it is, but we'll see. So Twitter, just looking at a couple things here. Here is the ETH Bitcoin pair. This is also looking very similar, where you had kind of like a downward correction, and then you had finally you reached your bottom after halving, and then you had this little bull flag that happened, then it took off. And then if you look at this, same thing, it's kind of like a head and shoulders with a downward momentum. And then you had your bottom, actually created a double bottom there, and then just went sideways a while until the halving happened. And what date would that be? I'd have to look it up. But anyway, there's your bull flag. This was kind of like a bull flag in a way too. Yeah, it's more a bull flag than a falling wedge. I guess this one's more like a falling wedge if you went to a lower time frame. And then finally you had, kind of like another head and shoulders here with a down. I mean, this is what we're doing currently with downward price action during the downtrend, and then had a bottom, actually a lower low here to fake out. And this could be a bull flag that's forming here. So we don't know how long it's going to take. It could come back down one more time. We'll just have to see how it plays out, but I think it's looking fine to me. And then Cholo, it's into the buy zone currently. Of course, I took this image yesterday, so it's not up to date, but if you missed this one, that would be the time to buy. But it's up to you. I mean, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was talking about here. I was gone a few days without power and internet due to hurricane. Here's an idea, but this is a Matt Fury comic character. And I don't know if, somebody may have just decided to do this on their own, knowing this was one of Matt Fury's comic characters. I don't know if they got permission or not, but anyway, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters for them. But it's at 400K market cap yesterday. I haven't actually looked at it today. Let's just see. Just curious what it did. I mean, people may be accumulating here, maybe not. Oh, okay. So looks like it could be getting bullish again. I talked about it right about here. So anybody that got into it after seeing that is up 50%. So not too bad. And here were the levels, if I can bring them up. Let's see. I don't know if it'll bring it up again. I had all the lines. Yeah, there we go. So it's bullish above here. It has to hold that. I thought it may come down to support, and it could still, but there's also some support right in here where it's at currently too. It kind of swept the lows right here, swept swept this lower low right there. So if it holds that line, I think it's looking pretty good. But, you know, TP2, take profit 2 line there would be about 167%. I mean, it could get a little bit above it into the order block there. So you could say something like, well, you know, maybe there's more of a sell zone in there. But I mean, it has to get back above this area. You could call that another bullish area. It has to get above, because this was a lower high, and there's going to be a lot of people that missed out selling there that are going to be selling on the way back up. I think that's all maybe I wanted to talk about there. Yeah, GMEE, it actually did break out. I was talking about it for a while. It broke out of that. I think we did like a 2x out of it. And you could keep holding. I think I'm still holding as well, actually. But bull flag, break up, holds bullish line, then it's going to go up to TP1. If it holds the bullish line, that's what will happen. I'm not saying it has to. Could still come down to the support line. It's over the 50 RSI, so it's looking fine for now. Let me just see what money flow looks like on a longer time frame. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to curl up there. It looks okay so far. But RSI curled back down. Yeah, I mean, that is a higher high there. So I don't know. It kind of looked like it could just go sideways and maybe a little bit down one more time. Sometimes these fake out to the upside and then come back down. It's tough to say. I mean, you could put you a trend line here and say, you know, as long as it holds that trend line, I'm good with it. You know, as long as it doesn't fall back below it. Because if it gets back into the triangle, then, you know, it's likely just to fake out. And we just don't know. I mean, the market is pretty, I don't know, sketchy right now because of what Bitcoin's doing. I'd like to see this keep moving, though. I'm still holding. SNSY is one that we cover in our spreadsheet that we have on the Discord. If you're interested in the Discord or Nansen discount, just look in the description below. I won't get too much into it today. Yeah, it just needs to hold that support there. And then, of course, when it gets up at the bullish line, it's looking a lot better. Trade is one that somebody asked me in the Discord today. And currently it's bearish here. Buy zone would be in these areas. This is for poly trade, by the way. And I did want to make a point about KAS because it is slightly bullish currently. My only issue with KAS, I mean, people have made a lot of money on this token, right? My only thing is, if I was holding this token and I never purchased any, I've just had some people asking me about it lately, you know, consider taking profits just because, I mean, you don't have to take everything out, obviously, but, and I'm not giving you advice, I'm just saying, think about things logically. You know, this thing hasn't had a big correction, really, like most other tokens have. And all of these tokens are kind of on their own timing. You know, just because it's up and it's strong right now and it's holding its gains, even though Bitcoin's down, doesn't mean it can't correct. I mean, Bitcoin could turn around and go back up, and this one could still correct. And I'm not fudding it, nothing like that. I think it's a great project. I just want people to be aware that it doesn't matter what token it is. Don't be afraid to take some profits. And the reason why I want to bring this one up is it's the perfect view of a token that hasn't corrected but is losing momentum. You know, I'm just giving you the facts here. You know, RSI is creating lower highs here. So if RSI at any point was to, you know, break below 50, you know, this middle line right here, then this would, you know, come down some. Could be a quick correction, you know, could just be down here to 11 cents or something, or it could come down to the value area high from the previous range, which would be 0.45 or so. So yeah, I mean, just be smart about your investments, I think is the main thing. You know, you got a market that's completely bearish right now for the most part. I mean, most tokens, 95% of the tokens out there are correcting with Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, what I would do here, by the way, just the way I would play it from a TA perspective, is I would put a line here and say, you know, if I got to close below this line and the bullish line, I would at least consider taking some profits, because you can tell that this thing is starting to lose momentum. I mean, look how these higher highs are getting tighter and tighter. They're getting smaller and smaller. So anyway, I'm not going to get too much into that. I'm not short KAS. I'm not long KAS. I'm just giving you my unbiased opinion on it. Let me just check this and make sure there's nothing here, and then we'll look at Nansen. Okay. All right, let's just take a quick run through Nansen here. Let me see, how long have I been going? 20 minutes, okay. Let's just go maybe 5 to 10 minutes more here. The way I'm playing it currently is I'm just slowly, like I was talking about, slowly accumulating. So if you're using Nansen, what you'd want to do is I'd probably go to something like Smart Money, and then I would go to Dex Trades, and I would just look at the live Dex Trades mostly. And I mean, you've seen me do this before, but I would look for high conviction plays where they purchased at least 5,000 recently, I mean. And let's just see, there's one called DPay. I haven't heard of that one. Mavia is one we follow long-term. Ondo, Andy is a good one. Mog is a good one. Pepe. I mean, these are all like really established tokens, right? ATH is a fairly new one, but it's been doing well since it's launched. But look at this. This is crazy. I mean, usually you'll see like 10 or more pages of this that like nobody's buying right now. So, you know, I'm just taking it slow because of that. I'm not seeing much activity, much buying activity from the big whales. So, you know, just take your time with it, I would say. Let's see, what else do I want to show? I mean, if we look at only new tokens that Smart Money has been buying, I mean, even meme coins haven't been doing that good. Yeah, they've been correcting as well. And the new tokens that are launching, it doesn't seem like they've been doing that well. I mean, this is a very low amount, not even anything over 100K that Smart Money is jumping into. Here's one called Whiskers you could look up. That's an interesting name. I mean, I'm usually looking for interesting names when I'm looking at memes. Yeah, there's a lot of Smart Money in that one, which means it's probably already taken off. Let's just look at it. I'm going to make this the only one we look at because there's really not much going on today, especially going into the weekend, right? Let's see how it's doing. Yeah, so it had a big pump, and then it looks like the dev dumped on them, or somebody did anyway. Maybe it was the snipers that got in early. I mean, look at that, though. That's only 360K market cap. It's not even that big of a move for memes, you know? So, yeah, I don't think anything really wants to pump right now so far. But you do have things like, well, here's Egg. Is this the one that's just an egg? Oh, no, somebody launched a copy of it. Yeah, so somebody pumped this one and then dumped on people. So it almost did 2 million. I mean, that's what you would expect for most memes when things are going good, is a 2 million market cap and then a correction, which is exactly what Cholo did. Of course, we didn't dump on people. You know, I'm part of the team that created that one. It's just that, you know, the market's down right now, and we got some big plans for it. In fact, we're doing an AMA over the weekend. I believe we're still trying to figure out what day we're going to do it. And our billboard's up, so that's great. It's looking real good. We're doing an airdrop contest, by the way. You know, if you want to get in on it to try to get some airdrop tokens. We're not doing many airdrops, though. You know, we'll do a couple of contests. We don't want to dilute the price. We will be doing a burn in the future, by the way. Let's see. And our following has grown so much over the last week and a half to 2 weeks. I think we went from 300 to 845, so that's great. We'll be hitting actually, there is a thing if we hit 1K followers. Where did I put that? Yeah, here it is. For every 1,000 new followers our page receives, we will add another Lucky Cholo airdrop prize. So the way it works is if you live near LA, if you go over here and take a selfie at our billboard, you've got the highest chance of winning, really, because there's not many people that are going to do that. Not many people that are local to the billboard. If you retweet the billboard photo and you get like max engagement, like you're one of the top engagement people for retweets and likes, then you'll win. And then we've also got people that, as long as you just retweet and engage with our post right here, we'll randomly pick somebody. And for every 1K new followers we receive, we're going to add another person to this group right here, you know, this Lucky Cholo group. So check that out. Go to @SoulCholoPepe. That's our page. And if you want to be involved in that airdrop, that's the way to do it. We're going to give out, like, I think $250 worth. It's worth about $250 worth right now. And I mean, if the price goes up, 5x or something, then you've got over $1,000 right there. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's end it there. I'll do another one next week, and hopefully my life is back to normal pretty much by then. But yeah, y'all have a good weekend, and appreciate you watching.